The personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all strength, and his strength rests on the thighs of his transcendental body. His whole body is full of opulences, all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. The yogi is advised to meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord, beginning from the soles of the feet and then gradually rising to the knees, to the thighs, and finally arriving at the face. The system of meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead begins from his feet. The description of the transcendental form of the Lord is exactly represented in the Archa Vigraha, the statue in the temples. Generally, the lower part of the body of the statue of the Lord is covered with yellow silk. That is the Vaikuntha dress, or the dress the Lord wears in the spiritual sky. This cloth extends down to the Lord's ankles. Thus, since the yogi has so many transcendental objectives on which to meditate, there is no reason for his meditating on something imaginary, as is the practice of the so-called yogis whose objective is impersonal. So in these verses, Lord Kapila continues to describe the transcendental form of the Lord that the yogi should meditate upon. And this description began from the lotus feet and gradually rising upwards. And in this verse, how the Lord is seated on Garuda is also being described. Uru suparna bhujayor adhishobhamano. The Lord is Shobhamano. He is beautiful, and he is sitting on the shoulders, Suparna Bhujayor, on the shoulders of Garuda, and his thighs are resting on the Suparna Bhujayor Adhishobhamana. Uru Suparna Bhujayor Adhishobhamana. And those thighs, Uru, they are Ojo Nidhi. They are the treasure house of all potencies of the Lord. And this form of the Lord is Athasika Kusumava Bhasau. Athasi is a linseed. Prabhupada has translated of the linseed flower, Atasika Kusuma. It's a very beautiful bluish, whitish flower. And so Atasika Kusumava Bhasau, like the luster avabhasau of the Atasi flower, a bluish flower. Vyalambi pita varavasasi varthamana. Vyalambi pita. And this pita varavasasi, his yellow garments are extending down all the way up to the ankles. And kanchi kalapa. And there is also a girdle, parirambhi, encircling his nitamba bimbam, rounded hips. Nitamba bimbam. Next, the yogi should fix his mind on the meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead's thighs. Uru, the storehouse of all energy. Ojo Nidhi. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the luster of the linseed flower. Atasika kusumava bhaso. And appear most graceful, Shobhamana, when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda, Suparna Bhujayoradhi. Also the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, Nitamba Bimbam, which are encircled, Parirambhi, by a girdle, Kanchi Kalapa, that rests on the exquisite yellow silk cloth, Pitavara Vasasi, that extends down to his ankles, Vyalambi. So, very beautiful description of the Lord. His powerful thighs resting on his devotee carrier, the bird carrier, Suparna, Garuda, and how the complexion of his body is like that of a Atasi Kusuma, like the linseed flower, and a beautiful yellow garment all the way up to his ankle, and his rounded hips, and which are also adorned with a girdle encircling. And the yogi should meditate on all of these transcendental angas of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada has pointed out in the purport, actually there are 3 topics. One is the Ashtanga Yogi's meditation on all these different parts of the body. Prabhupada also here and there talks about the bogus yogis. Ashtanga Yoga is a genuine, bona fide process. Then there are the bogus yogis that we see in today's world, and who do not recommend meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord, because that is what is recommended in the scriptures. And the third topic is devotee, bhakti. How all 3 of them, these are the 3 topics that Prabhupada talks about in this purport, and how bhakti compares with the Ashtanga Yoga, which is also a bona fide process that is being described. So Ashtanga Yoga, which is what the Lord Kapila is describing to his to his mother Devahuti, is about meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. There is complete clarity on that. On the other hand, the bogus yogis, they say that we should meditate on some red light. There is one institution, they have that kind of an arrangement. You enter their room, it will be dark, and one red light bulb will be there. And you are supposed to sit and meditate on the red light bulb. Sometimes some organization talk red light, some organization prefer some other color light. It's just stupid. Where is all this coming from? Red light, blue light, green light. Meditating on all these things. Or meditate on some dot or something. Some people say we should meditate on the sound of the clap of one hand. What sound is there when one hand is clapping? That's what you should meditate on. And another thing that very common, I attended one session. I had gone to meet some important person in our country who is a God man. For various reasons we have to be in touch with them. And so it so happened that when I went, he was in a session with a large number of people, and he was doing this meditation session. So I was also asked to sit, and I said, okay, let's see what this is. And then he was telling, breathe in slowly, hold the breath. hundreds of people. Breathe out slowly. Like that it went on few times. In, out, in, hold, out. Like that. And then he started saying, calm the mind. Take out the thoughts. Empty the mind. Like that. You have to empty the mind of the thoughts. Take out the thoughts. It goes on like that, and then again he starts breathing, and then he comes back. So it goes on for about 10, 12, 15 minutes or so. So actually they talk about taking out the thoughts. How can we take thoughts out of the mind? When you try to take out the thoughts of the mind will be thinking of taking out the thoughts. Isn't it? The mind is constantly thinking. And if you are saying that you should empty the mind, your mind will be thinking of emptying the mind. It's not emptied the mind. You cannot empty the mind. So somehow, in today's world, in our country, there are all these kind of different types of yogis presenting these kind of things. And that is why Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that these are not the genuine methods. This is not an authorized method. But very rarely people want to know what is the authorized, what is the standard knowledge. Anybody comes up with something, they just like it and they just take it. So on the other hand, we can see here Ashtanga Yoga, it is about meditation on the Lord, absorption in the Lord. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Prashantatma vigatabhir brahmachari vrate stitaha manas samyamya matchitto yukta asita matparaha. This is in the Dhyana Yoga, 6th chapter, which is about Dhyana Yoga. There Krishna is telling how a yogi should meditate. Prashantatma, his mind should become calm. Yes, definitely his mind should not be agitated with material thoughts and all of those things. Vigatabhir, free from fear. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. So for this Ashtanga Yoga, one has to be a brahmachari. Other ashramas, generally not possible. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. And manas samyamya, mind should be controlled. Mat chitto, and mind fixed on me. Krishna is saying, mat chitto. Yukta asita mat paraha. And in this way one should be situated. Mat paraha. Actually this is a very powerful word. Mat para means totally devoted to Krishna. So that is the kind of meditation that is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. Yukta asita matparaha. Manas samyamya matchitto yukta asita matparaha. This is in the 6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga. Earlier in the 2nd chapter, when Arjuna had asked the question, what are the symptoms of a spiritually advanced person? What are the symptoms of a self-realized person? Even in that context, Krishna uses the same word. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha. Tani sarvani samyamya. This is referring to, in the previous verse, Krishna talked about senses being very pramathi, balavad drudham. The senses are impetuous. And they're very agitated. The senses get very agitated in the presence of sense objects. Tani sarvani samyamya. All such senses should be controlled. Yukta asita matparaha. And you should be situated in a state of total dedication to me. Totally devoted to me. So that is a symptom of a self-realized person. That is a symptom of a spiritually advanced person's matpara, devoted to Krishna, devoted to me. So very clearly these ideas are there in the Gita and in the Bhagavatam, but somehow the so many of these yogis come up with these different ideas, empty the mind. Actually, there is a how do they get this idea that we should empty the mind, while actually Krishna is saying Matchitto yukta asita matparaha manasamyamya, all these things Krishna is saying. Why do they get that idea? There is a verse in the Gita which they which they read in a certain way, and that is Shanai Shanai Uparamed Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstham Manakritva Nakinchidapi Chintayet. Krishna is saying, Shanai Shanai Uparamed. Gradually, you may not be able to quickly come to control the mind, the senses. Shanai Shanai Uparamed. Gradually calm the mind. And Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya. And you need to use your intelligence. And yoga practice requires dhriti, means determination. Dhriti Grihitaya Buddhya. With your mind, with your intelligence, with determined intelligence, mana atma samstham mana kritva, and mind should be atma samstham, again should be spiritualized, fixed on the self, atma samstham mana kritva nakinchidapi chintayet. One should not think of, Srila Prabhupada translates, na kinchidapi chintayet. One should not think of anything else. But what these normal translators do, one should not think of anything. They miss out that else. One should not think, na kinchidapi chintayet. One should not think of anything. So that's why they are saying you should empty the mind. You should not have any thoughts. Here, we have to read all these verses in context. Already Krishna has told, Manasamyamya matchitto yukta asita matparaha. Fix your mind on me. And so here, nakinchidapi chintayet refers to don't think of anything other than me. That is why the Vaishnava translations, Vaishnava explanation of na kinchidapi chintayet, one should not think of anything else. That is the correct understanding, because all along Krishna has said that fix your mind on me. And here in the Bhagavatam also we are seeing that how one should fix the mind on the different transcendental parts of the body, transcendental form of the Lord. Now, this is the comparison between the true Ashtanga yogi and the bogus yogis. What about bhakta? How does devotional service work in this context? It's very interesting. The yogi is trying to fix his mind on the transcendental form of the Lord by meditation. Now, the process of bhakti is different. We understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and so we have a relationship with Krishna. And that relationship is of loving relationship. And so we want to revive that loving relationship. And once that loving relationship is revived, that love is so powerful that it automatically fixes the mind on Krishna. This is a very interesting revelation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Na kinchidapi chintayet. Not think of anything else but Krishna. When love is there, one will not think of anything else but Krishna. And to revive that love is the process of bhakti. Prabhupada gives this example, just like when a young boy has fallen in love with a young girl. He's so fixed in thinking of her, or a young girl thinking of the young boy. So, his mind is so fixed because of the force and the power of love. Of course, we understand it is not love, it is lust, but as a comparison in the material world. So, bhakti is about reviving that love, and because of that love, the mind becomes automatically fixed on the beloved. And that beloved is Krishna. Just see how the yogi who is struggling, controlling the mind, all of those things become very easy and pleasant with the process of bhakti, and it becomes a natural fixation of the mind. Na kinchidapi chintaye, the devotee who is in love of Krishna does not think of anything else. A very good example when we read all of these descriptions of self-realized souls, spiritually advanced souls, all of these things that we read in the Gita, in the Bhagavatam, we should think about the gopis. Krishna was there in Vrindavan till about 10 years and a little more than 10 years. And then Akrura came and took him away to Mathura. And everyone was very unhappy. Krishna is being taken away. Nanda, Yashoda, gopis, all of them were Gopas, they were all very unhappy. And Yashoda was particularly very unhappy. Nanda was going to take him with him. Nanda was also accompanying Krishna and Balaram along with Akrura, because king had sent an invitation. Kamsa has sent an invitation. And then Krishna told Mother Yashoda, I'll go there for the sport and I'll come back, Mother, soon. And still, even for a few days to be away from Krishna, it was so difficult. Mother Yashoda, just see how their minds are fixed on Krishna, the residents of Vrindavan. And then the gopis, they were particularly very attached to him. And he promised them also, very soon I'll come. I just have some business to attend to in Mathura, and I'll come back. And then that is how the very, very great Leela of Krishna leaving Nandagaon and going towards Mathura. And so the gopis were just looking, and then Krishna went away in the chariot with Balaram and Akrura riding. And after that, they just could not. They were so much feeling separation. They waited. Krishna never came back. Krishna killed Kamsa, and then Vasudeva and Devaki were released. And then they felt that, oh, our son Krishna and Balaram, they have grown up to 10 years. They have not gone to a Gurukula. Those sent them off from Mathura to Ujjain, to Sandipani Muni's Gurukula. And from then he came back to Mathura. And then there were attacks on the kingdom. So Krishna got involved in all of those things. And then how to defend, how to organize the army. And then Krishna felt that it is not safe. It went on up to Krishna's age of 24 years. And then Krishna felt it is not safe. He decided to move the capital from Mathura to Dwaraka, built a big kingdom there, a capital, fort, palaces. Then he got married to Rukmini and many more queens. And Krishna never came back. And all along, the gopis were living feelings of separation from Krishna. And actually, they all went mad. They would see the Yamuna river, they would see the banks of Yamuna, they would remember Krishna. They would see the tamala tree, they would see the creepers, and that would all remind them of Krishna. So now you see the spiritual state of the gopis. Their minds are totally fixed on Krishna because of love. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, fixing the mind on the transcendental object is a sign of spiritual advancement. Now you compare whose mind is fixed most firmly on Krishna. And when you see the example of gopis, no one can compare that. So gopis are considered to be the most advanced. Ramya kachit brajavadhu vargena ya kalpita. This becomes one of the tenets of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, that the example exhibited by the gopis, brajavadhu vargena, the gopis, what they exhibited, ramya, and most enchanting attachment that they had for Krishna, that is considered to be the highest level of spiritual advancement. There is no one else higher than that. So bhakti enables such an attraction and attachment to Krishna, and that bhakti is practiced is exhibited in different flavors of rasas. Shanta rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. And among all of them, Madhurya rasa is the most intimate, most spontaneous, most intense, and the most sweet. Because Madhurya is considered to be the conjugal relation between Krishna and Gopi is considered to be very, very sweet. There is no better word for that than the word of honey. And honey means madhu, and madhurya comes from that. So it is the sweetest. So this is how the process of bhakti, how the mind is fixed on Krishna by revival of bhakti, love. And how this love comes about? Because we are all intrinsically part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna prema nitya siddha sadhya kabunai. That is the eternal perfection, that is the eternal function, that is the natural state of the amsha, of the soul. But when the conditioned soul is having different ideas, bodily conception of life, mental conception of life, and he has got these different kinds of egos, and he wants to satisfy his ego in different ways. Now, how to transform this conditioned soul towards bhakti? Because you have to respect his free will. So gradually different processes of Vedic religion are presented so that there is a gradual transformation. So that is why there is nishkama karma. There is a recommendation, because conditioned soul is so interested in working for his own benefit. So don't work only for your benefit, for your enjoyment. Think about others' enjoyment, others' pleasure. So make some sacrifice. That's called nishkama karma. When such nishkama karma is performed, a little bit of knowledge is awakened. When a little bit of knowledge is awakened, some transcendental knowledge is awakened, then there is a little bit of a practice of austerity and knowledge, then jnana develops. When one is a little more enlightened, then that process is called the jnana yoga, and usually that jnana gives them a little bit of a hint of transcendence, and that is the Brahman realization. If one is properly guided, one is fortunate and is properly guided after many, many lifetimes, then one will come to the understanding of there is a transcendental form of the Lord, and one should meditate on the transcendental form of the Lord, and that happens, the Ashtanga yoga begins. Dhyana yoga or Ashtanga yoga begins. Then one can meditate on the transcend. In the Brahman stage, there was a hint of spirituality. In dhyana or meditation, there is a more understanding of the form of the Lord, like we are reading Kapila Deva's description, transcendental form of the Lord, and the yogi meditates, fixes his mind on the transcendental form of the Lord and the beautiful form of the Lord, and that is an revival of a beginning of bhakti, and that is called Shanta Bhakti. What a dhyana yogi achieves, Ashtanga yogi achieves, is called Shanta Bhakti, which is actually a very, very preliminary stage. Then if one is properly guided, one is fortunate, then he can practice other kinds of more and more of bhakti, and then he can revive his original state, which could be in Dasya, Vatsalya, Sakhya and Madhurya, and one becomes situated in Swarupa, Swarupena Vyavasthitaha, and that is the gradual perfection that is brought about. So this is the gradual method, Nishkama Karma, Jnana, Dhyana, and then Bhakti. So a gradual process is recommended in the Vedic literatures for those who are not ready to come to this platform. So that is recommended. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's recommendation is, if we can take to Bhakti, and from whatever level one is in, one can rise to the highest platform. That's the difference between Bhakti and the other yoga process. People misunderstand. People think that there are four kinds of ladder. Four paths are there to the same spiritual perfection. They say, and that's how they say, you can take any path. No, we say that there is only one path. So they say there are four ladders: Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And whichever suits you, you take that ladder. And all ladders go to the same place. They say, no, we say there is only one ladder. The beginning stage of the ladder is called the Jnana ladder, and then you come to the Dhyana ladder, and then you come to the Bhakti ladder. And only by Bhakti you will be able to attain the highest perfection, because Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. Only by Bhakti you will know me in truth. Veti tattvataha. You will know me in truth only by Bhakti. And all other methods are gradual progress towards that. So we say that there is one ladder, and the ladder has multiple parts, and one can get stuck in one of those rungs and be called a Jnana yogi or a Dhyana yogi or a Karma yogi. But actually one should be progressing, and when you progress, it may take many lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Jnani also makes progress after many lifetimes and comes to mam prapadyate, surrenders to me. So if you see all of these different things described in the Bhagavad Gita, in another place Krishna says, Dravyamaya yagna. There are different types of yagnas are there. Dravyamaya yagna, Yoga yagna, Gnana yagna, Tapo yagna. And among all of them, ultimately it leads to Jnana. And that Jnana further, Jnanavan mam prapadyate. So if we see all of these different instructions, they are all meant to gradually turn the conditioned soul who is Krishna Bahirmukha, who has turned away from Krishna, to make him Krishna Antarmukha, to turn him towards Krishna, and to gradually take him on and on. Now, for bhakti to work, which is a quickest, fastest and the highest process ultimately, one or two important criteria is there. Actually, one important criteria. Usually it is not possible. Generally the recommended process is the gradual process. But for bhakti to work, one important criteria is if one is fortunate, one should come in touch with a pure devotee of Krishna who is on that highest position. If we come in touch with a pure devotee of Krishna and who will recommend the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam and all of that, regardless of what state we start from, Anartha Nivrutti can happen and we can gradually progress to the highest stage. That's the process. Prabhupada gives this example. There are two ways. You can take the staircase. Gradually, first floor, second floor, 10th floor, 20th floor, 100th floor. You can come up to the 100th floor by the staircase, going through all of these steps. There is another method. You can go to the elevator and press 100th button and the elevator will straight take you to the 100th floor. And that is a process of Krishna consciousness. That is a process of bhakti that Krishna is recommending, the Bhagavatam is presenting. Not the gradual process. Although the gradual process has its place, there is relevance and we must know about the gradual process. But what we practice is by reviving our loving relationship with Krishna, the mind becomes automatically fixed on Krishna. For that, meeting and coming in touch with a pure devotee is important. After coming in touch with a pure devotee, which we have all fortunately come in touch with Srila Prabhupada, another thing that is relevant for us, general discussion, you have to come in touch with a pure devotee, that's relevant. For us, what is even more relevant is, take the words of the spiritual master, take the words of such a pure devotee as one's life and soul. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Korya Aikya. That is an important step that is relevant for us after having come in touch with a pure devotee. That is why these acharyas, Narottam Das, Thakura, all of them have sung these songs. After you should know that the lotus feet of such a pure devotee is the abode of bhakti. And serving him and taking his directions, his words as your life and soul is the process for making advancement. And if we are able, and Srila Prabhupada instituted that system, that we sing this song every day so that we remind ourselves that this is what we should be doing, because we have taken up a very extraordinary method. Not the gradual method that the Vedas generally describe, which is a multi-life process. But we are taking up a very, very quick process by which we can attain perfection in one lifetime. And for that, taking the words of the spiritual master very seriously, being very eager, being very enthusiastic. And Srila Prabhupada has given a whole pattern how we should lead a life from morning till evening. In one purport in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is talking about all these things. How the spiritual master designs a certain method, how to keep ourselves busy in touch with Krishna all along. Right? Smritya, there is a verse in the Bhagavatam. And so he says that we should constantly be remembering the Lord, and the spiritual master designs a certain method how a disciple can be in touch with the Lord. And then Prabhupada says, so we have deity worship, we have kirtan, and all of those things Prabhupada is describing. And those days in Los Angeles, devotees had a business called Spiritual Sky Incense. And they would make incense, and then it became a very big business also. So in the purport Prabhupada is mentioning, and doing singing, doing deity worship, chanting, hearing from the Lord, and even working in the Spiritual Sky Incense factory. So in all of these different ways we should be in touch with Krishna, and in that way we will make spiritual progress according to the directions of a pure devotee spiritual master. So these are the three things. Ashtanga Yoga, described by Kapila Muni to his mother. There are all these bogus yogis, and the process of bhakti. And how bhakti surpasses, includes all of the perfection of the other yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga processes. Perfection is included in that. That's why Prabhupada gave that example. If you have got 1 crore rupees, you already have thousands of rupees, you have hundreds of rupees, you have lakhs of rupees because you have 1 crore rupee. And that is Krishna consciousness. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.